Hello everyone and welcome to part number 5 of this epic 8-part series where I'm ranking my 100 favorite roller coasters. In this episode, I'll be rounding out the first 50, eventually ending up at the official halfway point of this list. The following 10 roller coasters have placed at number 60 through number 51, and you know they're all going to be fantastic. Let's do this, baby! You know what country has some pretty good roller coasters? A place called Japan. We start part 5 from the land you're probably sick of me talking about, but hey, can you blame me? Especially a ride like Dolphin at Tokyo Dome City, number 60. One of the more accurate park names in the world because Dolphin quite literally is steps away from the Tokyo Dome. And the city part of its name is what truly makes Dolphin shine. Right in the heart of downtown Tokyo, this coaster probably has the best city views of any other in the world. And oh yeah, this intimate hyper itself just happened to have a huge height of 262 feet and speeds of 81 miles per hour. At a regular park, Dolphin probably wouldn't be seen as truly elite. It has limited airtime and a pretty odd layout, but put it in Tokyo, interacting with Ferris wheels, going through buildings, and still a dang good drop with the city surrounding you. Ugh, chef's kiss. It's back to the States for number 59 for a wooden coaster people forget is a thing. But those that do remember, and especially those that have ridden, have nothing but glowing reviews for Boardwalk Bullet at Kingda Boardwalk in Texas. This 2007 Gravity Group is the most compact woody on the planet. 3,200 feet of track somehow confined to just an acre of land. And Boardwalk Bullet also brings it with a non-stop, super intense, airtime-filled masterclass of a coaster experience. And I say this after having not received what I believe to be this coaster at its peak. I rode on a pretty dead day in the afternoon. I still obviously loved it, but I've heard this thing really cooks at night. So number 59 might actually be lower than it deserves to be. That one visit is all I unfortunately had, but that only means its potential to rise even more is 100% possible. The goal for the 2025 version of this list is to hopefully annoy you with more European coasters instead of Japanese coasters. Because here's another one, number 58 is Fujiyama at Fuji-Q Highland. Almost the same exact stats as Dolphin, and ironically I love it for very similar reasons. Holy views, honestly, maybe my favorite of any coaster period. The Fuji in the name Fujiyama, that's because Mount Fuji is right freaking there. Stunning is the biggest understatement of all time. The ride itself though, oh my lord, does it have that magnum? Why is this so janky, painful, but still kind of amazing? Especially the second half, with just wild, this doesn't feel right laterals and transitions. Fujiyama has grown on me for even these last few weeks, remembering how utterly hilarious it was, while still being forceful. And again, if I claim that scenery matters for me when judging a coaster, I can't not have Fujiyama this high. Painful moments and all. At number 57, let's discuss another often forgotten about Gravity Group wooden coaster, Ravine Flyer 2 at Waldameer. Kind of a tough place to get to, but Ravine Flyer 2 1000% makes it worth it. Let's talk yet again about some views, as on multiple occasions, including the top of the lift, you get stunning shots of Lake Erie. It also features this incredible airtime hill that goes right over a highway, one of the most unique features of any wooden coaster. It still rides mostly smooth, as Waldameer, it knows what it has, it really takes care of this thing. It's a phenomenal layout, great airtime, intense moments throughout. Ravine Flyer 2 is a gem. Make the drive from Cedar Point or Kennywood one day, as Waldameer as a whole is a fun overall park as well. We are now at number 56, and if you've been following along so far, let's launch yet again with the fantastic Thunderbird at Holiday World, the only B&M wing coaster to make my top 100. And for good reason. Thunderbird's awesome. It may get overshadowed by the wooden coasters in this park, but it still absolutely brings it. an excellent 0 to 60 mile per hour launch in just 3.5 seconds, and doing it from a wing position is a pretty darn unique sensation. That intensity is complemented very nicely by some graceful inversions, 4 in total, including a vertical loop and a good inline twist through a shed. Thunderbird has always been by far my favorite wing, so Rapterra at King's Dominion, you are officially on the clock. Thunderbird is who you gotta beat. Subscribers of this channel may know I tend to hype up a certain state above all others, that being Florida, which I consider to be the roller coaster capital of the world. A huge part of that being the coaster at number 55, the beloved Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure. This 1999 B&M is one of the most ridden and recognizable coasters in the 21st century, and it's still running fantastic today thanks to a complete retrack in 2016, kicking off with that roaring launch that I can't believe is only 40 miles per hour. It feels so much faster, as does its max speed of 67 miles per hour as Hulk flies through this 7 inversion layout. Every time I hit the brakes, I marvel at just how forceful this ride is. Now that it also has an onboard soundtrack, it's amazing how Hulk is still competing with Florida's best. And I don't think it's too soon to say it's approaching legendary status as one of the most iconic steel coasters of all time. Speaking of legendary steel coasters, number 54 is certainly in that category. Or should I say, sadly, inexplicably, and still hard to believe, was in that category. The first, this still doesn't seem real, guys, defunct coaster of my list, Kingda Ka. A coaster you do not need to look up the stats for. 456 feet of height that made it the world's tallest for 19 years. A reign that no other coaster in history held for that long of a period. A 0 to 128 mile per hour launch that made it the second fastest in the world. For everyone that grew up in the Northeast, Kingda Ka was the measuring stick when it came to the fear of riding a roller coaster. If you could conquer Ka, you could do anything. The ultimate confidence boost in what is maybe the most public and accessible way for one to truly overcome a fear. From a pure roller coaster perspective, of course it wasn't the greatest. That past tense is still weird. But yes, it was only a 28-second experience. But with one of the best launches ever assembled, an epic climb to the top of the coaster world, and a drop where you again felt insane 100 plus mile per hour forces into that speed hill, Kingda Ka left so many with blown away faces, both literally and figuratively. I could obviously go on a rant about the nature of its closure, but that's not really my channel's vibe. I'm just very, very thankful that so many people got to give it the proper closing weekends it deserved and got their final rides in. Long live the king. It will be remembered. Alright, back to our originally scheduled non-emotional program here. At number 53 is actually a ride very similar to Kingda Ka, called Storm Runner at Hershey Park. Storm Runner didn't nearly have the speed and height of Ka, quote, only 75 miles per hour and 150 feet of height. But that launch is no joke. You get to that 75 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. One of the best in the country for sure. One of the major complaints about Kingda Ka was that it was too short, and wishing it had more to it. Well, Storm Runner gives you that more, where after a straight down 180-foot drop, you go through some incredibly unique maneuvers and inversions, including the world's only Cobra Loop and Flying Snake Dive. This ride should be appreciated more in my opinion, a beyond solid coaster experience from beginning to end, and easily one of the best coasters at Hershey Park. Time for number 52, and I promise I didn't purposely do this, but we got another storm coming, this time in Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom, a lovely little RMC in Louisville. I know a few people that think number 52 would actually be too low for Storm Chaser, as when this thing is going at its max potential, it absolutely delivers some of the craziest ejector air you can get on any coaster. Your thighs will absolutely be hurting, in hopefully a good way, after a few rides on this thing. I'll give some props for this layout, as admittedly RMCs can blend together sometimes, but I don't think that's necessarily the case for Storm Chaser. The one knock I'll give it is that when it's running slow, as I've experienced, the layout can run a bit awkward and doesn't hit as much as you want it to. It's still a superb RMC and coaster, and I get why some have Storm Chaser even higher. Wrapping up the first half of this list, number 51 may surprise some of you. It still surprises me. I still do not understand how or why Batman the Ride at Six Flags Over Georgia specifically is so freaking good and fast and intense. Holy cow. Maybe no other invert gives you that tingly sensation in your legs and feet other than Batman at Over Georgia. The standard Batman the Ride layout is strong enough, clearly not enough to crack my top 100, as I've said inverts aren't one of my favorite models, but this version in particular just stands out from the rest like no other. Definitely one of those see for yourself experiences, especially if you've ridden other Batmans. I promise you will see a difference. Crazy how such a popular clone among so many other custom invert layouts can still find a way to be one of my favorites. Bon Jovi said it best. We're halfway there, everyone. 50 coasters down, 50 to go. And it's the top 50. Channel-wise, I still got one more video of 10 coming at you in the coming days, and then we'll bump up the volume with 15 coasters in the one following until that top 25 epicness is released. Which coasters make it, which don't, which do you agree or disagree with? Let me know in those comments. Otherwise, until next time, see ya!